nobody talks about that part.
That's the part people need to hear.
I've never shared this publicly.
The leaders are talking. The stories are real. Don't miss what everyone will be talking about.
Welcome to another episode of Bold Xchange. Today we're talking about internships, but really we're talking about opportunities. For many of us, it was that first summer job, internship, or part-time position that helped shape who we became. It was where we learned to show up on time, work with people, solve problems, take feedback, and understand what it meant to earn a paycheck. It was our first taste of responsibility, confidence, and economic independence. Those experiences didn't just teach us how to do a job. They taught us how to be employees, teammates, leaders, and adults. Somewhere along the way, we've gotten away from something that used to be common. Businesses routinely hired high school juniors and seniors. They gave young people that first opportunity, knowing they weren't hiring experience, they were helping to build it. Today, our young people need those same opportunities. And in 2 days, on July 30th, the country will celebrate National Intern Day, recognizing exactly that, the businesses and the young people willing to bet on each other. We couldn't think of a better way to lead into it with this conversation. Our guests today are proof of what can happen when a business chooses potential over experience. This episode features Samantha Lazarus, owner of Emack and Bolio's ice cream, who welcomed a Junior Achievement South Florida intern last summer. That intern impressed her so much, she became a permanent employee. Today, last year's JA's intern is helping train this year's intern, who just is beginning her own journey. Welcome, Samantha and Cheyenne and Naomi. This is Bold Xchange. Let's talk about what happens when someone is willing to open a door. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you. All right. Now, I have to tell you, we've done several episodes so far, but none where I've gotten to have our students with us. So for me, this one, no offense, Samantha, but having young people to share their stories, for me is what it's all about, right? I love hearing from y'all. Yesterday, we had a breakfast for some of our funders, and we had 2 young people who went through our pre-apprenticeship program, and they shared their experience. We didn't know what they were going to say because they were not scripted, just like I don't really know what you're going to say today. But hearing that authenticity and that vulnerability. So I encourage you, right? Share whatever it is you want to share with us today. That's what I love about this. So let's jump in. First of all, Emack and Bolio. I have to ask where that name came from. What's the history behind the name of the ice cream company?
Well, the owner and the creator of this ice cream, he was a lawyer, a practicing lawyer. He did some pro bono case for 2 homeless gentlemen, and he won the case. And at that time, he decided to go full force into making ice cream his passion, his business. And he asked them permission to use their last names to name his ice cream brand.
Wow.
So he named it right after them, Emack and Bolio's.
I love the philanthropic, right? Community helping side of that, right? Because, it doesn't always happen, but how he combined business, ice cream, and philanthropy. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. But I had to ask, so thank you. So first I want to ask, and Naomi, maybe we'll start with you. What made you apply for the JA Summer Youth Employment? I know you went through the Career Bound program, correct? And then you have the opportunity to do a summer internship, paid for 6 weeks, 30 hours a week, right? What made you say yes to that?
I think this is a good practice for me because I've never had a job before. And I think this program really sets a standard for you when they're teaching you what's good for with interviews, how to be a good employee. They do step-by-step practices so that you don't mess up on your first job. And I feel like some people without this internship can be lost. And I think this really helped me and set my standards up for my first job. So that's why I liked this internship and I wanted to apply for my summer job. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We're glad you did. And so, Shania, you were an intern last year.
I was.
Right? Do you remember back to that, right? What was that your first job? Was this the first?
No, I think it was like my 3rd or 4th job. Yeah, I had some experience before, so.
But do you feel like going through the JA Career Bound program and preparing for the internship that they were going to place you in, did you feel better prepared? And if the answer is no, that's okay, by the way. But what did it make a difference?
I think it made a difference. I feel like doing this program, I don't know, I feel like I have more confidence now than before. The experiences are way better. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then that answer is yes. You feel more prepared, and I love that. When Samantha, I want to hear from you. And when I was a kid, right? It was just happened. People hired juniors and seniors, sometimes even sophomores in high school, right? They didn't think twice, and they didn't have any issue paying us, right? And they knew we weren't experienced, but they gave us jobs and we did whatever, right, we could, and we learned so much. And so much of who I am today, right, are because of those early experiences. What made you say yes to bringing a JA intern into your business?
Well, I just want to support young kids getting jobs, and it is very difficult for kids to find work. But the Junior Achievement Program basically does some, it beats people out, so it makes it easier for me to find somebody that I believe is going to be, strong and really wants the job and is focused on learning. I love the fact that it's their first opportunity to get a job. I enjoy teaching them how to do all the things that they need to learn how to do in the shop, and there is plenty. And it also helps a small business like myself to get through a particular time in the year that it's costly to keep staff because the money coming in, the sales in July are very, very slow in Florida. Especially, in Pembroke Pines, it's not a tourist spot.
Right.
So things slow down in the summer for us, which people don't think because it's ice
You
cream.
wouldn't think, because you would think more people eat ice cream during the summer.
Right. It's hot. You want ice cream. Nope. But the whole thing, it quiets down. So it's also at a transition point. So there's a lot of students that I've had working through the winter, and then they're going on to college. So I know that I'm looking for people during the summer to train them while it's a little slower so that they can learn at an easier pace. And then I usually try to have them through the year.
Right.
So it helps out my business tremendously because the sales are slower, and also having them being a paid internship, it helps my business tremendously through the summer.
That's great. So two things, doing good stuff, right? And giving young people an opportunity, but also helping you with the talent workforce issue, which so many businesses are facing, right? I read something the other day that talked about how workforce talent is now the new currency for businesses. Yes, technology, of course, we all have to be using technology and embracing technology in our businesses, but finding talent is becoming even harder than figuring out how to use technology.
Absolutely.
Which is interesting. So I think that's great. I'm going to throw this out to either one of you who wants to jump in and answer. What was your biggest lesson from going through, and I don't mean necessarily the Career Bound program, because you got to go out and explore careers and do all that. You got to work on a case challenge. And so maybe your biggest lesson was from that part, or the second part of the program is where you're preparing to interview, build your resume. What did that do for you? One of you talked about confidence. I think it was you, Shania, who talked about having more confidence after the program. Did this help you with that interviewing process and being able to talk about yourself? Because that's hard sometimes, right? And to sell ourselves. I always say we're all in sales. The first thing we have to sell is ourselves. Share with me a lesson that you learned through all of that.
Okay, so before I even first I was looking for the jobs, I had to go on I think it was on the website or whatever. I had to find what job I wanted to pick. I chose the shop, right? So after that, it took a little minute to get a call back or whatever. So I, had to call her first, take that step up to even get the job. I had to, speak up for myself because no one else couldn't do it for me. So, and I didn't think I was going to get a call back either. So, I called her, I talked to her, and I got the job probably like 3 days after I called. So I feel like if I would have waited, it would have took way longer. Maybe I would have been to it. So
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a couple of things. You need to be your own advocate, right? And number two, if we don't ask, we don't get, right? So you had to make sure that and also the third thing is she even knew that you really wanted the job. Like you mentioned before, that these are young people who really want to be there.
Absolutely.
Right?
The second she started the job, that first day, what did we do? We had a massive ice cream delivery. We had, I think, 1 or 2 pallets coming in. And the first thing when she started, is this something that can I have this job? If the internship goes well? I said, yes, it's possible. We'll see how it goes. But she was gung ho about getting a job.
Right.
So, and she showed me. I mean, it took a lot of work and getting her to be able to be vocal with customers and the service and everything that she needed to learn. It took a lot. And she had, a lot of experiences that definitely tested her in terms of being able to emotionally handle it. But she strived through it, and she's been my best employee ever since. Yeah.
Wow. Well, so you're seeing your investment pay off,
Absolutely.
right? Absolutely. And how about you, Naomi? What was the greatest lesson so far that you've gotten through either the program or through the job?
I think confidence as well. I know you said confidence, but before this, I had no experience with interviews, anything with the job force. So I feel like this really helps me put myself out there as well. I think the same thing for you. It goes for me as well. So we took the words right out.
That confidence is so important. We hear that so often from young people, just like you. When they come into these programs, they don't want to speak, right? Publicly. They don't have the confidence. They don't know where they're going and what their career might be. And so I think going through programs like this, especially something as deep as this, it's a lot of hours that you all invested in helping to grow, right? So I love that. What was something that you might have, a skill that you attained or something you learned that you didn't expect to learn? Was there anything that really came as a surprise to you?
I think speaking more with customers, because previously before this, I'm not going to say that I was horrible at public speaking, but I definitely wasn't the best. So I think with this job, you do have to speak with customers and you have a lot of customer service going into this job. So I think this is what surprised me getting a little bit better at customer service. So I think that's it.
So good. So I was on PTO last week and started reading Unreasonable Hospitality, which is a book that I would absolutely advise both of you, and you could go into chat probably and get a summary of it if you want to shorten it. Or you could probably listen to it on Audible. But it is all about, right? Yes, the product is great, but what was the experience they had when they came into your store? And you're on the front line. You're working with those customers, right? Is that, Samantha, is that something that you teach?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to ask, how do you teach that?
I teach them to be vocal. I'm actually stooping with them. So they actually see what I am doing, how I engage the customers that come in. They follow my lead. I give them a speech. I tell them, this is what you say. Welcome. Have you ever been here before? They all know the speech. And if you don't give them that speech to start off with, then they don't know what to say. And so you give them the spiel, and then they kind of take off and roll with it. And that is where the customers love to see their personality coming through. And then they connect with their servers and they come back and they're happy to see them every time. And that's super important. That's something that a lot of the kids, when they come in, they don't know how to vocalize.
I was going to ask you that. Right? So you've hired now 2 J interns, right, over the last couple of years, but you've hired probably hundreds of other people.
Yeah.
Do you see a difference in that training of, as you said, maybe their eagerness to want to work, or in their preparedness, their maturity, their confidence? When you're hiring off the street, right? Do you see, is that a challenge? Do you think that's out there in the workforce?
Well, I mean, I've hired people and they haven't been able to rise to the occasion. And within 2 weeks, I basically let them know that the job is not for them.
Right.
But the beauty of the internship is that, especially for kids that are new to the workforce, they don't know what to expect. They don't know how to handle, the structure of the whole thing. It gives them a time frame that allows them to learn things more slowly and gradually grow into it without the pressure of, if I don't learn this within a certain amount of time, I'm out the door.
Right.
So for them, it's to their benefit because I give them the breathing room a little bit more than I would if I was paying somebody straight out. And it also gives me the breathing room to allow them more time to learn the job better, so that they could possibly be an employee, to say. So it takes the pressure off. It takes the pressure off of them. It takes the pressure off of me to put more effort into training them and giving them the time as well.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win for the students.
Yeah. And I think sometimes employers might not take employees, right, from a program like ours for a high school student because there is that investment of time.
It is.
In my opinion, it's worth every minute. I agree with you. So thank you for that. I know we talked about confidence a lot. When I was younger and I was in some of those jobs, I can tell you that often I walked away maybe not knowing what I wanted in the future, but I can tell you I knew what I didn't want in the future. Right? Have you learned, either of you, you can both share, but have you learned about the future of, customer service? Yeah, I don't want to work with the public, right? Maybe you love it, maybe you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But what's something, because I think it's just as important to figure out what we don't want. Mm-hmm. What have you figured out you don't want or that you don't really enjoy doing? Is there anything, or you just love everything about this job?
I think that it really helped me with my customer service because I won't be a flight attendant now. So it's really helping me speak up, sell myself and stuff like that.
It helped you build that.
Yeah, exactly.
So wait, you said you want to be a flight attendant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was talking to her and my other coworker about that. I was actually going to be what is it called? A traffic controller before. But my coworker, he was like, you know what? You should read. He sees me as like a flight attendant. I was like, that's actually a good idea. So, I looked into it and stuff like that. I did my research. And, it involves customer service, hospitality, and stuff like that.
Everything so, it is, right?
Yeah. I feel like that's a good career for me.
I love that you're figuring out from this experience what's next.
Yeah.
Right? Where you might want to go in the future. Okay. Was there anything for you, Naomi, that you figured out either through the program, working on a case challenge, or through this job that, you know what? I don't really love doing this, or this is not what excites me, right?
I don't think there's anything.
Not yet.
I still love this job.
Good.
I don't think there's anything.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm curious, Samantha, we talked about people sometimes don't hire because they think it's a big investment of time and I don't have the time to mentor and write all of that.
Yeah.
Are there other reasons, as you talk with other employers and business people that are there other reasons why you think companies are hesitant to hire interns?
Well, I'm in the Chamber of Commerce in Pembroke Pines, and I've gone to some meetings actually, and other business owners have been having trouble hiring people that know how to engage and they know how to handle situations, and they feel that I think the younger kids now are not as equipped to handle these jobs as well as they have been in the past, where they feel that the employers and the managers need to put a lot more effort into training the staff where they may not have in the past.
Right.
So they tend to not want to hire as many young kids as easily anymore, I think.
Because of, and I think there is, that it's so interesting that you say that, because I think that there are sometimes some stereotypes, right? Not for all generations, right? I'm a baby boomer, so there's probably stereotypes about me too. But I think we generalize, right? We tend to generalize that a high school student isn't prepared and can't solve a problem, I can tell you, we have some young people who could solve problems a lot better than people my age, right? Especially when it comes to technology.
Right.
So how can we, and so that begs the question for me, right? As someone who's running this organization and trying to make sure that we engage employers in this, right? Program like you. What can we do to help employers understand that they may not be 100% ready? Most people aren't, right? I mean, anybody you find is going to be stronger at some things than others. But what can we tell employers, or what can we show them for them to have more confidence in the fact that these young people can bring value to their companies?
That's got me stumped.
That's something.
It's a challenge. You've got a lot of businesses that are struggling right now. And they're so strapped for trying to keep up and actually cut labor costs because things are very expensive to keep people on.
Right.
So the amount of staff that they're trying to keep on is probably pretty tight. And if they have a really big staff, it's very hard to hold on as a business. I've seen a lot of businesses that require a tremendous amount of employees to open the doors, not be able to hold up. So you're dealing with probably gearing maybe maybe the junior achievement should go after really small businesses even more. Not the franchises inside, but maybe the small businesses. And that utilizing them, like myself, they may have a little bit more time to devote towards training.
Right. And the fact that we offer the wages, a company who needs us, right, to pay the wages,
right,
can be solve part of that problem of the wage part. But I also want to make sure, and maybe, were you involved in the program while it was going on, or only when it came to the employment part? Like, did you get to interact with the kids at all during the program?
I didn't.
And I wonder sometimes if maybe bringing our employers out there who are skeptical that maybe our young people aren't ready, right? Bringing them into the program. I'm sure if they got to know you and they spent some time mentoring in the program, they might be able to change their minds a little bit, right? I mean, you two look pretty convincing to me. So,
actually.
Yeah. So, Shania, you're now training Naomi.
Yeah.
Right. So, different skill sets, right? Before you were being trained, you were selling, right? You were on the front lines. Now you're teaching and mentoring and training someone else. Share a little bit about the different skills, right? How do you, right? Because everybody's different. Naomi might be really easy, and somebody else, she might be coachable, right? And she's open to learning and doing things the way you share. And then you get some other employee, right, who might not be so coachable. Talk about the leadership skills and the skills that you've had to develop.
Well, at first, I wasn't really a leader, I would say. I felt like I was overstepping. If I was like, be a leader, I was overstepping my place. But, Sam, she, had this talk about leadership and stuff like that. And, it just gave me the confidence to train Naomi even more. Because at first, I wasn't really doing what I was supposed to do. I'm not going to lie. But, after we had that talk, I was on her more. I was actually trying to train her and, watch over her, see what she was doing and stuff like that. So I feel like that talk really helped me. And, Naomi, she was, she was a lot of work at first.
I made it.
We went our Vegas, but, we got there. So I'm doing pretty good now.
I love that. This is what I love about the authenticity of your young people, right? You never know what's going to come out of their mouth. Listen, just if it makes you feel any better, in the real world, when we promote people into manager or leadership positions, often they don't have those skill sets.
Yeah.
And if we just put them in that manager position and expect that they are going to be able to become leaders, without that mentorship and those conversations that you talked about at Sam, right? Yeah, they might not become a great leader. And becoming a great leader isn't something that happens in one job. By the way, I'm still working at it, and I'm a lot older, and I've been in a lot more leadership positions. It's a constant evolution. It truly is. So I want to make sure you know that not to expect that you're going to know all of a sudden, yes, how to be a leader, right? Naomi, so she said you were a little bit tough at first and, but she whipped you right into shape, it sounds like. But tell me about leadership on Shania's part. What was that like to have someone who's basically your contemporary, your peer, telling you what to do?
So honestly, I didn't take it in a bad way because obviously she's trying to help me grow and help me understand because this is my first job and she's been in my position before. So I like when people are in my position as well so they know where I'm coming from first time, where I got my skills from. We kind of went through the same type of training. So I think it wasn't too much of a big deal. I thought of her as someone who was training and it was nice. I like being with her.
So she might have been a little tough in the beginning, but it sounds like she's coachable.
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
She is.
That's a good thing, by the way. That will get you far. I can tell you that if you go into a job, right, and there's going to be things to learn in every job you go into, if you are coachable, if Samantha can give you feedback, and have you had to do that? Has that been an opportunity for them to learn? Because it's not easy to take, right, constructive criticism, especially if it isn't delivered in the right way. But I have a feeling Samantha probably did deliver it in a kind way. But it's still not easy to be told you're not doing something right as well as you might think. Okay. Talk a little bit about that because I think that's a huge lesson for these young people, for all of us, actually.
Definitely. It isn't easy. They are learning. But there are moments where I have to kind of pull back and be more than just a business owner and talk to the kids about how they're actually doing and where they need to improve and what's important and how they can get better at what they're doing and recognize why what they did wasn't the best way to handle something and give them another opportunity. Don't just shut it down and say, okay, that's it. You're out of here. Kind of, you have to, I've given a lot of talks.
Yeah.
Lots of talks.
That mentoring is so, you both are very, very fortunate because I think there aren't a lot of employers, right? Not a lot, but some employers won't always invest that time and they might just say, oh, this isn't working out. Right. As opposed to really trying to help you grow. So yeah, I think you're very, very fortunate. So I love that. So I love at the end, and by the way, I love social media, not all of it, but I love LinkedIn, little bit on Facebook, a little bit on Instagram. But how do you help Samantha and the business on social media? Or have you become influencers for the business?
Yeah, we definitely have. We've done a couple of videos. We definitely see that on our page. They are kind of embarrassing to me.
But they're so
But
funny.
they're very funny, yeah.
Hi, thank you so much, Junior Achievements, for allowing us to get this internship at Emack and Bolio's, because now we know how to scoop ice cream. Thank you.
And it's very cool, very nice. So, yeah, it's for me.
Well, anytime you'd like to expand those social media influencing skills, we would love for you to do that for JA. So our young people can tell the story better than we can any day. But I was hoping you would say yes, that you were helping to promote the business and make it fun. And I love all the things you young people do on social media. Mine is so boring compared to some of yours, but good. I'm glad to hear that. So I always love to end with having our guests finish a sentence for me. I'm going to give you each a sentence to complete. In 10 years, the person doing my job will need to know how to
have confidence. Don't sell yourself short.
Oh, I love that. Love that last part especially. What about customers?
Having great customer service, being friendly with the customers, that also goes a long way as well. So
Yeah.
that retains customers and does this for
I would think that's something they're definitely going to need to do. And besides Scoop, is there anything else, Samantha, that somebody coming into these jobs needs to know how to do?
Math.
Math. Interesting. Tell me what you mean by that.
They need to know how to register.
And make change and that kind of stuff.
And at the end of the night, close out the register, make sure that everything's balanced.
I didn't even think about that.
Those are skills that they're learning for the first time. And it's challenging to teach them how to run a register and bring people out.
Wow. That is something. Totally came out of left field. I would never expected that, but you're right. You're absolutely right. I remember being a cashier at a grocery store when I was younger, and it didn't tell us how much change to give. We had to figure it out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we had to figure out. So if somebody gave me a 10 and it was $4.50, I had to count out the change to get to 10. Yeah, it was a little different back then. Yes. Dinosaurs were around. So I'm only kidding. I love that. I loved having you guys here. I am so appreciative when our students want to tell their story, when our partners and employers want to share their experience, because hopefully when some other employer watches this, they're going to say, I could mentor somebody, right? I could do this. And when our young people see this, right, they're going to say, you know what? I can do that. I can go for that job, right? And same thing with changing the perspective of employers, that when they hear this, they might say, you know what? I need to give them a chance, right? And help them grow. Because if we aren't all in this working together to develop the next workforce, right? Which is all of you, we're going to really have a problem, right? So I want to thank you for your authenticity, and for sharing, being vulnerable, and honest. I really, really appreciate that. And I wish you both the best of luck. And I can't wait to fly on the flight that you are going to be the flight attendant on. So you'll have to keep in touch to tell me what airlines. Definitely. Thank you, Samantha, for all that you are doing, for being a part of this. We really appreciate you too.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So today's conversation, like I said, wasn't really about one internship. It was about something much bigger. Every one of us can probably remember someone who gave us our first opportunity, someone who took a chance before our resume gave them a reason to. Those opportunities shaped who we became. Today, too many young people are struggling to get that same first chance, not because they lack potential, but because they lack experience. And the only way to gain experience is for someone like us to give them that opportunity. If we want a stronger workforce tomorrow, we have to be willing to build it today. Maybe that starts with hiring one intern, one summer employee, one high school student who's eager to learn. You might fill a position for the summer, or you might change the trajectory of someone's life. This Thursday is National Intern Day. If this conversation moved you even a little bit, let it be the reason you open a door for someone this year. Thank you, Samantha, Shania, Naomi. Thank you for sharing your insights and your perspectives on what it means to give someone a chance and the first opportunity. Thank you to all of you for listening. Until next time, this is Bold Xchange.
Bold Xchange is a production of Junior Achievement of South Florida. Subscribe wherever you listen so you never miss a conversation. Follow us on social at JA South Florida and visit jasouthflorida.org to learn more. Got a bold story? Reach out. We want to hear it.